everybody, I'm Heather from DIY Crafty Creator, and this is Benny, my kitty. But today we're going to be making some contoured cloth face masks. So these are double layered. You can make them with an elastic band, or I'm going to show you how to make them with bias tape as well. So here's some of the supplies we're going to need to make this project. We're going to need some, say bye Benny. We're going to need some fabric. I used two different colors of fabric, one for the lining and one for the outer. Scissors, bias tape cut into 12-inch strips. We're going to need a rotary cutter, some floral wire, because we're going to put a little wire in the bridge of the nose, some needle nose pliers, and they have like a little cutter here, a little wire cutter, or you can use a wire cutter separately. Cutting mat. We're going to need our pattern, and I will put a link to that pattern in the description. Some pins and your sewing machine. So let's get started. First, we're going to use our pattern to cut our pieces. There's 3 sizes here, adult, teen, and child. So we're going to go ahead and do the adult size today. So go ahead and cut along your pattern. Okay, so when cutting our fabric here with a pattern, I always it's double layered here. So we'll be cutting through 2 layers with our rotary cutter. There's 2 pieces here, and we need 2 more. So we need 4 pieces total, 2 for the inside lining and 2 for the outside. So we'll go ahead and cut 2 more pieces out of a different fabric. So the next thing we're gonna do is sew along the long side, the front of the mask edge. And we're gonna do that on both of the pieces of fabric. So first what you wanna do is put right sides together. So go ahead and put both those right sides together. And then we're gonna sew just along this outer edge here. You're welcome to pin it if you like. I think you can just hold it while you sew it, it'll be fine. So I'm using a 1/4 inch seam allowance here. And don't forget to back stitch. Okay, and there's one. Let's do the lining. Okay, so now that we have both of our pieces sewn, we're gonna go ahead and cut a little bit of this fabric out. So what I like to do, it just takes out a little bit of bulk, so where on the front of it here, it doesn't have a lot of extra bulky fabric. It makes it wrinkle up. So what I'm gonna do here is just cut a couple little waves out of the seam, and we don't hit that don't hit the thread there, but you can get close, and do that on both of these. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and press the seam. So flip it right side out and use your iron to iron the seam to the left. And then we'll want to do the same thing with the lining. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and whichever fabric is your outer fabric, we're going to flip it wrong side out again. We're going to take our pieces of bias tape and we're going to pin them about 3/8 of an inch from the top corner here. So go ahead and pin that. We're going to pin 4 of these, and these are 12 inches long. I cut the other end at a diagonal here. Okay, now you want to fold the bias tape into the inside here, and you could pin that as well if you like. I have a tendency to poke myself, so I just kind of squish it all up in there, and we want to make sure we don't run over it with the sewing machine when we're sewing, so that's why a good reason to pin it. So take your lining fabric right side out, and we're going to set it in here. We're going to pin this as well. I like to pin the top nose bridge here first. That kind of gives me a good place to start, and you'll notice because we've ironed both of our seams to the left that they're now opposite, which is nice, and now we'll lay a lot more flat if you can line those up that way. So the lining goes left, the outer goes right, and just go ahead and pin that. So go ahead and pin around the whole mask here. I do the top and bottom first. Like I said, it just tends to line up better for me that way. And then the four corners. You can add more pins if you like, if that makes you feel more comfortable, if your fabric stays in place better, like anything that helps you to sew, like take your time and do it. So now we've got our mask pinned, and I'm gonna start sewing. So we're gonna sew around most of the outer layer. I'm gonna leave a spot about this big so that we can flip it inside out on this part exactly right here. So I'm gonna start here, go around all the corners, go over this seam, and then I'm gonna stop, and then we'll flip it. When you start sewing, I just like to start a back stitch just to keep it a little more secure. So as you go, take your pins out. And when you get to the corner, lift your presser foot, turn the fabric, and then set it back down again. Now I can feel the bias tape in here for our straps, so I hold on to it when I pull the pin out, and then I go ahead and sew right over it. Now when we get to the top part that we're going over this nose bridge, we're going to leave a little extra seam allowance because we're going to put the wire nose in there so it can be fitted to the nose. So 3/8 to 1/2 inch is what I like to do for that top nose bridge. So go ahead, turn your fabric and make sure everything's lined up. So get to the corner, go ahead and lift your presser foot, hold on to that bias tape, go ahead and press your foot back down. So here's the bottom seam, we're going to go ahead and sew over that. And shortly after, just go ahead and back stitch, and then we're going to go ahead and put our nose strip in. Okay, so let's take our floral wire. I'm going to cut about 7 inches of floral wire here. Use my wire cutters I borrowed from my husband. Cut that little bit off, and then we're going to take the ends and just make a little loop over. So just loop that over both ends. See that? Okay, so we have our floral wire. I bend it in half and then bend it back almost straight here, just so I know where the center is. We're going to go ahead and put the center here, kind of contour the wire to the mask, and then we're going to start the zigzag pattern right after the little loop. Stay right in the center. Okay, so there it is. You have the wire stitched in the zigzag pattern over the whole bridge of the nose. You can trim off any of those extra little pieces of thread, but it's not really going to matter because we're going to turn it inside out. So go ahead and find the inside layer. Start turning it inside out. I go up towards the wire so I can grab that wire. Grab your little strings and then pull the wire through. We don't want to bend that up too much, but just go ahead and get that flipped inside out. And we're almost done. We have one more step to complete it, actually two. But it's looking pretty good here. The wire in the nose piece. So our little space we had here, we want to tuck those ends inside. And then I just do a straight stitch right over the top of it. There's that. Cut your little bits of extra thread off. And the last thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and close up the ends of my bias tape. So I just run the ends through the machine, just one after the other. And that just closes off the end so it doesn't fray. And then just cut them apart carefully. And cut your extra threads just to clean it up. Okay, so there you have it. Pretty easy way to make this nice contoured face mask. Fits really nicely over. This one I made with the elastic. If you have elastic, which is really hard to get right now, if you have some, you just do it the same way. On the inside, you pin it, make sure it's straight, but it's really super nice and easy, and it fits really, really comfortably over. Just push those nose piece in. It's nice and tight. This one, just do your ties. Super, super easy. So let me know what you think of my video. Subscribe to my page and leave me a comment and let me know what you think. Obviously, these don't replace the N95 mask for the healthcare workers, but they're good just to have out in public. The CDC is now recommending that people do wear masks when out in public. This is quilter's cotton. If you use quilter's cotton, it's a little bit more tight. The thread count's a little more tight than others, so try to find one that has a high thread count. It's going to be a little bit of a better filter. So thanks everybody, and we'll see you next time.